dangling 16 feet above the hungry mouth of a crocodile. That's the final image that Jane has of her husband, David Hogbin. She desperately held on to his hand, trying with all of her might to pull her beloved partner to safety. But she too was starting to slip. When her husband said 4 simple words, she realized not only what he was about to do, but also what kind of a hero he truly was.
A man in his 40s has been pulled underwater by a crocodile in far North Queensland this afternoon.
We're really devastated with sadness for his wife Jane and their children and all of his family.
40-year-old David Hogbin had built an enviable life for himself, exploring the things that he enjoyed and finding success in nearly every avenue of life that he explored. Born and raised in Newcastle, New South Wales, he first began his career as a real estate agent and eventually transitioned into nuclear medicine. It was in 2014 that he graduated from the University of Notre Dame with a medical degree, allowing him to become a general practitioner. Though he loved helping people, the greatest love of his life was his family. In 2014, he married Jane, who also worked in the medical field. The two went on to have 3 sons who were just 7, 5, and 2 in 2024, which was the year the family embarked on their fateful road trip. David wanted to get away from the hustle and bustle of his job and the family's life in Newcastle just for a little bit. He and Jane decided that the best way to do so would be to do what they loved doing most, which was exploring the Australian countryside. So they embarked on the trip of a lifetime, a grand tour of Queensland alongside Jane's parents, her siblings, and of course the couple's children. Their journey took them 4-wheeling, traversing back roads, and fishing in some of the most beautiful stretches of land in the world. They spent their nights beneath a canopy of stars and swapped stories around a crackling campfire. For the adventurous family, it was a dream come true. After all their hard work, they had 3 incredible sons, careers they could be proud of, and hobbies that they could all enjoy together. The most tragic part of this tale is that the family's love of the outdoors didn't eclipse the reality that the Australian continent is full of dangerous predators of all shapes and sizes. It's home to some of the most venomous snakes on Earth, like the inland taipan, as well as some of the most dangerous arachnids, like the Sydney funnel-web spider. But the Hogbins were well aware of this, and they reportedly took all the necessary precautions, in fact more so than many other people would even consider taking. On August 3rd, 2024, the family found themselves camping near Crocodile Bend on the beautiful Annan River near Cooktown. It shouldn't come as a surprise that this area is known for the largest number of crocodiles that lurk beneath the murky water. But the Hogbins were cautious. They specifically chose not to walk along the water's edge where a crocodile could lunge at them and potentially grab one of them. And they had good reason to give the saltwater crocodiles, known to lurk the area, a respectful amount of space. With 68 sharp teeth, which can reach up to 5 inches long, they're one of Australia's most dangerous predators. Though, the scariest part is that they don't use those teeth in the ways many people expect. A saltwater croc's teeth are made specifically for gripping prey, which they can do with a bite force of up to 2 tons. Many survivors remember not the pain of the teeth, but the overwhelming pressure of the bite.
And that noise will haunt me forever, I think, the snap of its jaw.
Actually, the shock is so great, you don't feel the cutting or anything like that. It just feels like a huge...
Not whatsoever. As soon as I came up, I honestly wondered, do I still have my leg?
When their prey is trapped in their powerful jaws, they then use the weight of their body and their mighty bite force to pull them underwater and drown them. This feared move is called the death roll, where a saltwater crocodile brings its prey underwater and rolls over and over, disorienting the helpless animal and tearing its flesh from its body into bite-sized pieces. The further away from the water you remain, the safer you are. But not even that is guaranteed. Saltwater crocodiles are known to lunge onto land in explosive shows of power, moving as fast as 11 kilometers per hour, which allows them to quickly grab their unsuspecting prey and retreat beneath the waves. Instead, they hiked on one of the most popular paths in the area, one that meanders high above the water, specifically 16 feet up, giving outdoor enthusiasts a clear view of the river without any of the danger. But on this day, there was a once-in-a-lifetime danger that no one could have expected. Hundreds of people walked this trail a week, but David happened to be walking it with Jane at the exact wrong time. A recent rainfall had deteriorated the cliffside, and as David walked, The ground beneath David's feet gave way. Jane, who was several feet behind him, heard him yelp. She sprinted to her husband's rescue and slid as far down the cliff face as she possibly could to grab his hand. However, the rain made the steep cliffs even more slippery and unstable than normal. As Jane tugged on her husband, desperate to help him over the ledge, her own feet began to give way. This was the moment when her husband of 10 years looked her in the eyes and said 4 words. "Stop, you're falling too." There was a moment of silence. Jane knew what was coming, but nothing could have prepared her for it. Dave let go of her hand and disappeared with a splash into the water below, making the split decision without any hesitation to let himself fall into the crocodile-infested water to save the love of his life and the mother of his children. Not even a minute after he hit the water, Jane would hear a scream. Her husband disappeared beneath the torrent of waves as a crocodile attacked him from below, dragging him beneath the water. It's likely that the splash from his fall attracted this crocodile, alerting him to an easy meal and causing him to launch an attack. Jane, like most Australians, knows that a crocodile drowns its prey before it dismembers and eats it, and all she could do at this point was call for help and pray that her husband had somehow beaten the odds. A massive team swept in to survey the river and riverside of any sign of David. Teams on boats, dive teams, and ATV teams scoured the area, until finally they found what they were looking for. Fellow campers and hikers in the area recounted seeing a massive crocodile with a distinct scar across its face. Doing their duty, wildlife rangers located the crocodile 2.5 miles away from where David Hogbin had disappeared. The massive crocodile, according to reports, weighed approximately 1,000 pounds and was 16 feet long. After 2 days of relentless searching while David's family prayed that he was still alive, rangers got the sad confirmation that they needed. Inside the crocodile's stomach were the remains of David Hogbin. He was just 40 years old with a beautiful life ahead of him. Jane has told the media that she is thankful that her sons were at camp with her family and were fortunately spared the final moments of their father's life. In his tragic death, she doesn't want his memory to be lost. She told 7 News Australia that "I want them to know how dedicated he was as a father. He always jokingly offered to be a stay-at-home dad and never work again because they were his #1 priority. Dave was just the most calming, grounding person to have around in a crisis, and he was so loving, thoughtful, handsome, fiercely loyal, protective, and intelligent."
I want to put a face to this tragedy. Someone didn't just get killed by a crocodile. We've lost a wonderful husband, father, son, brother, friend, and doctor.
Dave Hogbin's death has ignited a call for increased penalties for those who inappropriately act with wildlife. Footage emerged showing people tossing bits of fish into the Annan River to record the crocodiles below eating. This kind of feeding encourages crocodiles to congregate in areas that they normally wouldn't, like beneath the very cliff that David Hogbin fell from. And Jane, in spite of the hard road ahead of her, has all the support of her local community and friends. A GoFundMe has raised $170,000 for her to raise her boys in this time of crisis. And David's case continues to serve as an important reminder of one of the most fundamental points of conversation: keeping wildlife wild. If you found this episode interesting, then our previous episode featuring the deadliest bear attack in Montana history is likely to do the same. You can find it at the end screen of this video.